Hi, my name is Jem. I'm the host of the podcast Have Coffee with Me, and I'd like you to have coffee with me. So, I feel like my first introduction video was more on the artsy side. I wanted to really create the atmosphere of having coffee with someone, hence why there was lots of coffee making noises. I literally recorded all of the steps I take every day to make myself a cup of coffee. Obviously, I really like coffee. But I wanted to take this mini episode to really introduce myself as your podcast host. So to start, I am 21 years old. I just graduated from college. I got a BA in psychology. I am Asian American, woo woo. My pronouns are she, they, and my sexuality is like, I call myself bisexual, but really I don't, to be really honest, I don't like using labels because of this one class called Anthropology of Sexuality, and it taught me so much about that sort of topic. But anyway, that's kind of why I don't really care about labels. In that sort of thing. I kind of wanted to get all of that like housekeeping stuff out of the way to like let you get to know me. If you've checked out my YouTube videos, then you'd know that I have uploaded lots of music covers and stuff. So that's really cool. I'm gonna get to that in a second. But yeah, I like to read. I just finished reading What I Was Doing While You Were Breeding by Kristen Newman, and it was a really good book, super great. I definitely recommend other people read it. It was a book that was recommended by the YouTuber, my favorite YouTuber, Damon Dominique. Love him, love his content. Can't recommend his message enough. I'm not even gonna go any further because I know I could go off about that, about his content and how much it's influenced me and how much I love it. And I binge watch it as frequently as like my schedule can allow. But anyway, what was I talking about? Yeah, I also like to write. I don't do as much writing as I used to, creative or otherwise, but I like to write. I post some of my poetry on Instagram, which is cool. I really like painting. I'm not really great at it, but I like painting. My first episode of this podcast, which is my first actual episode of this podcast, is going to be about makeup and my complicated relationship with makeup, and so I'll go more in depth about that in my next episode. But I occasionally like to watch makeup content. It can be fun and interesting, and I like seeing what's out there. You know, I don't buy a lot of it, to be really honest with you. I do not buy a lot of makeup. But when I do, is nice. It's nice to have. When you need it, you going on a date. Not like I'm going on any dates, to be honest. I have a boyfriend, but the thought is there. Um, I'm not really into fashion. I don't really understand fashion, but I am slowly trying to create my own style through my makeup and fashion choices. So that's kind of like a project I've been working on. Yeah. So why did I start this podcast? Well, in some ways it is a creative outlet for me, but it's also like an analytical outlet for me. I feel like something I'm really good at is analyzing concepts and understanding their origins and asking why. Like, why does this happen? How did we get here? And in a way, I feel like that can segue into, okay, what can we do to fix the situation, depending on what the topic is. But yeah, I'm also very opinionated, and I feel like a podcast is a good outlet for, excuse me, both me being very opinionated and also my analyzing abilities. I also wanted to share information that I learned from college and found fascinating. Like last semester, I took a religion class, and I didn't know anything about um, the religions that I was studying, but I fell in love with it, and it actually inspired one of my newest tattoos. And it was so amazing. And I feel like that information is, it's out there, obviously. You can probably Google all of the titles of the books that used and read, but I feel like a podcast it's sort of an easier way to digest information because you can just kind of listen to it while you're going about and doing stuff. So I feel like I want to share some of the things that I've learned in my in my limited perspective as like, a 20-year-old in the world. But yeah, as I previously mentioned, I I hate saying that in the past tense, but I used to make a lot of music content, and I used to upload lots of covers on YouTube because I felt like that was what was going to get me where I needed to go. And I'm not going to knock the hustle of people who do it because I think it's definitely great. And I think it's a way to get your talent out there. But at some point, I stopped feeling very creative. I felt like a pressure to keep uploading. And it stopped being fun for me. And the combination of the workload from college and like this pressure to keep creating kind of burnt me out, and I was just tired, and I didn't feel like I had anything interesting to show. I didn't feel like the content I was making was cool. So, like any sane or kind of sane person, I stopped doing it. Um, and I'd really like to get back into it, so I will be at some point doing that. But until then, I'm doing this podcast. I also think of this podcast as kind of an extension or a place that I can flex my mental muscles. I can talk about things that I learned in college, and I can demonstrate the skills that I gained in college, which I feel like outside of academia can be difficult to work out, I guess, since there's no other really way to put it. I believe that even some of our skills need to be worked on, like a muscle. So, what is this podcast about? Well, as you can probably sort of tell, this podcast is about anything and everything that interests me. Topics that I'm going to cover on this podcast include relationships and romance. A lot of the classes that I took in college revolved around social issues and stuff like gender, sexuality, and occasionally race. So I will be occasionally talking about those topics. Of course, you'll be able to tell in the title of the episode, so if you do not want to listen to them, you definitely don't have to. I definitely encourage listeners, if a topic may trigger you, please do not listen to it. Please take care of yourself. And to be honest, I don't have much else to say for this episode, so thank you so much for listening. I hope to see you on the next one, and I know that I sound like a YouTuber, so forgive me, but signing off for this episode. See you next time!